Q&A. All right. So if you did ask your question in the chat, just re-ask it now so that it comes to the top, because if not, like I have to like pull all the way back. So just ask it. And I see there's one question here. What has the experience with your clients been that reside outside of the US? The same as the ones inside of the US. You know, they've seen massive growth in terms of visibility, in terms of their prospects messaging them. So inbound leads, there's no difference. So Monique, but that's a great question. And we've had clients in Latin America. We've had clients and a lot of clients in the UK, clients in Malaysia, Australia, like there's so many places, but I've seen no difference in a client being able to gain traction and growth in America versus outside of America. I don't have the best eyesight, so I'm trying. Explain exactly how hashtags on LinkedIn Workspace. I was told if I use hashtags social media marketing, for example, 22 million followers will have my post in their feed. No, that's not true. So the benefits of hashtags, I mean, it can increase your visibility a little bit, but you will only, like when I put in the hashtag entrepreneur, like the posts that are going to propagate are the posts with the most engagement. So they're going to be at the top. It's like, you know, if your post gets no engagement, then like, it's not going to like propagate at the top of the hashtag. And so I wouldn't rely on hashtags for visibility at all. Like the content, the actual context of the content and the actual content is what's gonna determine whether your post gets a ton of engagement, a lot of reach, generates business versus not. You know, I would not rely on hashtags. Will such a program ever be offered with the training support in the evenings for those of us who can't do business hours? Oh, so if you can't do business hours, there will be recordings. So you don't have to worry about that. And like, just know you're getting the training. So you may have to watch the recording, but you're getting the community like throughout the day, daily. So you can interact with me, with the team, with everyone else in LinkedInpreneurs throughout the day, like when you get off work. So just know that if you can't make the live training, which are Thursdays at 12, beginning on October 7th, you can get the recordings. So you'll have direct access to the recordings. So I have a LinkedIn Live, but having trouble understanding how to format to gain traction. Do you work on this? Yes, absolutely. That's a great question. I love live. Live is where I love to teach about, right? But I have to first get everyone approved for live, help people get approved through consistency. So we'll start touching on live in the last, like in the third and fourth week. But the thing about live, the best tip I could give you is that live is solely for your prospects. So really through polls and things, try to understand what they want to learn about. Try to interview people that will inspire them, that were maybe once in their position that, you know, leveled up. Make it a show and incentivize them to return. The other thing with live is consistency. So if you go, it's like a TV show, right? If you go live every day at 8, then do it every day at 8 and build that community, build that audience. If you're going to go live every Friday at noon, then do it every Friday at noon and have, you know, talk about things that your prospects are going to care about. Don't just go live and be like, hey, and don't worry if there's not that many people on the live in the beginning, because there's a lot of replay viewers. But live is for selling, live is for building community, and live is solely for your prospects. But yeah, we'll be focused on that. As you grow your network, should you only include people that are in your field? No. You should include people that are outside of your field, because you never know who they're connected to, right? And you're just not on LinkedIn for prospects. Remember, you're on LinkedIn to maybe connect with a mentor, right? Or a mentee. You're on LinkedIn to maybe get speaking opportunities, and you never know who someone knows. Like we got connected to one of our biggest clients, a 6-figure client, who actually ended up becoming my first mentor, right? Through a random connection of mine on LinkedIn that had just seen my videos. And that was like, hey, I have a colleague, an acquaintance in your area. I would love to introduce the two of you. I don't know how you can work together well, we ended up working together and he actually ended up becoming my mentor. So I'd say that don't always be so narrow-minded and like linear of like, you must be my industry to join, you know? What's the possibility of success in Asia, developing countries for targeting North America's audience? Yeah, that's super simple. So you just have to talk about things that Americans resonate with, relate with, and you have to connect with them. Like the main thing is just connecting with more Americans. The more Americans you connect with, the more Americans you'll gain access to, and the more you'll be on the top of Americans' feeds. So we strategically help you do that as well. Let me see if there's more things in the chat. Do you recommend, okay, so here I see some. Do I get to speak to you? Yeah, David. So on the team coaching call, the 30-minute one-on-one, that's me and Courtney. And we're only doing it for this LinkedInpreneurs. If not, it's going to be extra in January. Okay, Samantha, I'm not big on those emotional, here's my hard luck story post, and my audience, ideal client is buying for the firm they work in, not themselves. Is this LinkedIn training right for me? I like the overall sound of it, but not sure if it's good for someone serving corporates. Yeah, this is, if you're, all we have to know is who your audience is, right? So everyone's audience is different. So if your audience is corporates, then the question is, okay, well, what do they want to see, right? What can help them look better for their boss, right? What can you provide them that makes them do their job better, that makes them have less frustrations and challenges throughout the day? And then we'll help you position that type of content. Thanks, Shanae. I've been on LinkedIn over 7 years. For the past months, I became more active. Totally agree. I had a post reach 20,000 views. Super blessed. Awesome. Do you recommend having a business profile? Yeah, if you have time for it, right? So the one thing I'll say about the business, the personal versus the business profile is like, you don't want a like personal profile that doesn't cut it, right? And then have a business profile that's the same. Like once you get the personal profile, the rhythm down, the content, once you start to really gain traction, that's when you could then, if you have the bandwidth, focus on a business profile. But the worst thing you could do is kind of like have both, and they're just like, they're collecting dust and they're kind of like, you know, it doesn't look professional. Shanae will be okay. So what is the difference between Growthpreneurs and LinkedInpreneurs? So Growthpreneurs is a program that we have for people who want to build digital products. LinkedInpreneurs is obviously, you know, people that want to focus on growing their business, growing their visibility on LinkedIn. So this is high level LinkedIn training for entrepreneurs, founders, executives that really want to learn the ins and outs of LinkedIn. Shanae, great to be with you. Good job. I have to pop at dinner. Okay. What do you say when you connect with someone? It depends who the person is, right? But you just want to say kind of what you would say in person. One of the biggest faults that people have on LinkedIn is that they try to be way too formal. They try to send posts that are like the length of a book, right? And they're just not connecting with the person in a way that sounds natural. And so if I open your message and I read your message and it sounds robotic, it may be automated, like I'm just like, then whatever. If it's a message that includes like that bridge that I mentioned in the presentation, and you just kind of write it like you talk, I'm much more likely to answer you. What you're in discovery phase of who the ideal, Natalie, please, what you're in the discovery phase? Let me know your question, Natalie. I'm a little bit confused. Awesome, Samantha. We're happy to have you. I know that a few of you have already joined. Congratulations. Once you do, you'll get into the community, and we'll get you on the schedule for your one-on-one and things like that. Will you be emailing the join link? Yeah, we'll be emailing you everything. No, like, of course. Curious how you stay organized with following, engaging, and connecting. That's a great question. So with the following, like I said, it's just a matter of, I like to break it down. Like in LinkedInpreneurs, we'll have a daily sheet, right? You follow a certain amount of people a day. and they have to match the profile of your ideal prospects, you know, similar to your best clients. Okay. Then the second thing is commenting. So it's not just like, oh, let me just scroll. You know, when you see like someone who could be your prospect, you really want to comment. And then it's the value and quality of that comment. You don't just want to put, hey, great post, like, you know, and then, or like an emoji. You want to strive to being like the most valuable comment on that thread, because that's going to catch their attention. And that's going to increase the likelihood that they will then go to your profile, follow you, check you out, and maybe, you know, inquire about your services, right? Or your products. So it's just an activity sheet. It's a breakdown. That's how you stay organized. And we're going to help you with that. So Mel, what if I have two audiences? So Mel, that's a phenomenal question. My first question to you would be, okay, you have two audiences. Which one generates the most revenue for your business? So let's say you have two audiences and there's one audience that generates 70% of the revenue. I would say focus on that. But if you were to say to me, you know what, Shanae, it's 50-50. I would say choose one for your personal profile and choose one to focus on a business profile. And we help people strategically do that as well. We'll be talking about that in the program. What if you're still in the discovery phase, okay, of identifying who your ideal audience is? Of course. Will this program be relevant? Yes. This program can also be like, let's say you were where I was, where you're just like, hey, I'm starting my business. I want to use LinkedIn, but I'm not really sure how to reach people, who to reach for my business that could increase profits and things like that. We will help you. We'll help you not only identify your prospects, but, you know, see how you can best reach them, get a response from them, get their attention and things like that. So it's not just like the seasoned, you know, hey, this is exactly who my prospect is. And what we found is sometimes people are, I don't want to say like less seasoned than they think, but really sometimes there's bias into who believing their best prospects are. All right. So they may say to me, hey, Shanae, my prospect is a 30-year-old millennial woman. But when we really break it down, most of their sales are coming from a 50-year-old married woman who's an empty nester, right? Sometimes we just lose touch with that measurement because we get so busy in our businesses. So we're going to actually go through that process with everyone. Natalie, that's a great question. Samantha, oh, awesome. Thanks, Courtney. Can you schedule content posts on LinkedIn? Lanique, you can, but I recommend against it. So one of the things that I do not endorse, just because LinkedIn does not endorse any of that, is automation. LinkedIn, I've seen people that automate and grow audiences of 200,000 plus, you know, followers, like huge networks. Their businesses rely heavily on these networks, and then they get banned because they use tools. Now, some people do get away with it. I'm not willing to risk that. Also, your reach will be affected in terms of like engagement and how many people you could reach. So there's not. There is, but you shouldn't use them is the real answer. Any way to be part of the program who can't invest at that level? You know, ideal. We don't accept payment plans because, again, most comparable programs are $5,000 or more on LinkedIn specifically because it's such a high level thing. But we do have other programs that maybe could benefit you. So contact Courtney. It's difficult for me sometimes is that I attract corporate C-suite audience, but my clientele are small business owners. So yeah, you're attracting them for a reason. We would have to look at your profile, your content, and then change that up for you to attract the right people. Go ahead and get into Telegram. Okay, perfect. So much joy and radiance in your presentation. How can I learn more from you? As I found only today your profile. Okay, awesome. Yeah, just follow my content on LinkedIn. I'm also on Clubhouse. How does the algorithm, so Los, how does the algorithm affect your post visibility of non-US connections, mostly comment if you're trying to get seen by Americans? Los, can you rephrase your question? So are you asking, how does the algorithm affect your post visibility if like there's people that are not in the US commenting on your posts? Is that what you're asking? Yeah, exactly. So Wendy, so you see Wendy, they canceled her account. So you got to be careful. This is why I do not endorse any LinkedIn automation. This is a big difference between me and a lot of other programs. You know, Los, it's just about getting the right people to engage with your content and creating content that appeals to them. So if you want to appeal to the American market, you can, one of the ways that you could do is talk about trending things that are happening in business in America and things like that, using American captions, engaging with more American creators and business people, adding more people from America to your network, especially as first degree connections. We strategically help people with that as well. Yeah, and I don't see any more questions. So if you have more questions, I'm going to be on here for about 10 more minutes. This is my favorite part. I love to answer all these questions. I've just reverted, but I still don't know what I did wrong. I was growing fast. Yeah. So Wendy, this is the thing. Like, did you have a VA? That's the other question I would ask, because a lot of people, when they start getting traction on LinkedIn, they get VAs that are in places like the Philippines and stuff like that. And LinkedIn will kind of realize that so many IP addresses, because a lot of these VA agencies, they'll let like 5 different VAs or something log into the same account, and then they'll flag you. So that's another reason why people get banned. Okay, so how does tagging affect your growth if you tag more than 5 people? Yeah, if you tag more than 5 people, it's seen as spam. So you don't want to do that. That's why like all those, listen, the algorithm's smart. You're not going to get more engagement and stuff because you're tagging 100 people in your post, you know. And it's also like, you don't want to do that. It's like not respected on the platform. If your content is good, you know, it will get the right level of engagement. Curious thoughts about the future of Clubhouse. I love Clubhouse. Clubhouse is also an extremely powerful tool to leverage with LinkedIn. And I will tell you this, for all of you who are on the fence, 2022 is fast approaching, and LinkedIn is also adding audio rooms. Okay. So you really have to think about it. If you put something like this off, let's say till January, let's say you're like, oh, I'll join in January. Well, you're not going to really gain traction by then February or March of 2022. And it's going to be triple the price in January on top of that. So by the time you're gaining traction, if you start in January, it's already Q2, you know, and you've already wasted all of this time. And then how much does that really cost you in the long run? You know what I mean? So just really think about it and take action, because like I said, I'm already in trouble with my team for offering it at this low investment. There are more questions under Q&A. So let's see. Okay, perfect. Would you recommend LinkedIn ads? Not until you have a great organic strategy. And then I would ask you, you know, what is the purpose? What are you trying to do? Where are you trying to take them? Why do you think that you need ads and things like that? But unless you really have an organic strategy pat down first, I don't. Do you consider the time zones where your audience are when posting? I do, but you know, just being honest, through all of the testing that we've done, we've seen engagement, you know, the time is less relevant than the content. I would just put it like that. And I think that that's all of the Q&A. All right, so, okay, wait, I see a question. Tessie, I apologize, but what is the difference between followers and connections? That's a great question. How should you engage them at the different levels? So on LinkedIn, you only get 30,000 connections. So you have a limit of how many people you could have as connections, and you could have unlimited followers. What's the difference? The difference is if I'm a first degree connection to you, I gain access to your network. Okay. So you want to have people in your connections that are leaders and kind of, you know, your prospects and your connections, maybe potential opportunities in your connections and things like that. Followers, you want to leave for maybe just people that you want to inspire or whatever. But just remember that you have a limit on connections versus followers.